Honestly, Vic, I still, because, and to your point, the AFC is overrated, but uh, and I think we're looking at it from different point of views here. I think all the teams are in the playoffs here, besides the Chargers and the Bills, could easily not make the playoffs 2 months from now. Like, I still think the Ravens are going to find the way in. I still think the Chiefs are going to find the way in. I even think the Broncos might find the way in. They're just better teams, and it's going to even out eventually. Like, sure, if the Colts get in, whatever. I don't care about the AFC South. They're just wasting my time. Somebody's going to win a division, point blank, period.
Right.
But I still see, maybe the Broncos, being a fifth seed. I see the Ravens winning the AFC North. Are you going to tell me that the Steelers are going to hold up? I don't know if I buy that. Jake Browning's not going anywhere, so that
Sure,
thing's
that
like,
wasn't his question.
but I'm just saying it's going to even out. And say that this is my counter question now. Say the Broncos are who we thought they were. The Chiefs are the same. The Ravens are. The Bills.
But who
and
are the
Chargers.
Broncos? Like, I didn't see them as this major
But
world beater the way
there's
the media was hyping them up.
I
And
get that, but they're
Rich
still going to be
Eisen
the
the other
better
day was
team.
like, his head was spinning.
Like, look at
How
this
that-
right now. Like, do you think the Bengals are going to be the fourth seed when it's all
No.
said and done?
No.
No. Do you think the Steelers are going to be the fifth seed? There's a chance. Do you think the Jaguars are going to be the sixth seed? No. Like, to me, it's like there's probably three fraud teams in the top 7 right now, and Chiefs, Ravens, Broncos are going to find the way in. And to me, after that what's the question? Is that really an overrated conference? Maybe because the Broncos are not who we thought they or people thought they were, but they're going to find their way in. And then the question that you had originally, Vic, I think the Chargers are going to have trouble with those teams, the Ravens, Chiefs, and Bills, because they've been there before. They know how to operate. Like, I still think the Chargers have a better roster to compete with the Ravens and with the Bills. But think about it, the Ravens lost to which two teams? They lost to the Bills and the Ravens.
Lions.
They lost to the Bills and the Lions. Those are two tough teams. It's gonna and they destroyed the Browns. The Browns who just beat the Packers. Like, this is where we're in territory of illusion. And I'm telling you right now, I even make a bold statement. Chiefs, Ravens, Broncos all find their way into the playoffs. So to me, yes, the AFC is overrated. Yes, some of these teams are disappointing, but it's going to be the same old teams when it comes around to January. I'm not buying the Colts will find the way because the AFC South, whatever. But I'm not buying the Jaguars. I'm not buying the Bengals. I'm not even buying the Steelers. But it's just the bottom. I think after the bottom 5 or the top 5, there's 2 spots up for grabs. I couldn't care less who gets them. They're not going to do anything.
I'll tell you one thing. I have been the one that has been scratching my head about the Chargers just because, I mean, in the past, I felt like I've seen this before, but then you really analyze and I haven't seen this before just because, I mean, again, I've seen Mike McCoy. Anthony Lynn was the one that had the best hand on the Chargers, and then you had Brandon Staley. I think the Chargers are very well equipped to beat the Bills. And I get the whole what Gilbert said, they've been there before. Yeah, but they've never had the opportunity to go in there and not like, how do I want to put this? I don't want to say choke it off because, I mean, obviously last year they lost, but I mean, like, they don't have the cloud in their head the way that the Bills and the Ravens do. Like, the Bills and the Ravens, for some reason, whenever they play the Chiefs, it's like, here come all these the same mistakes that we've seen, the not being able to finish off plays. The Chargers kind of would come in and they'd probably, if they played the Chiefs in the playoffs, they'd play a lot more free. I think they'd be like, well, we've never faced them. Like, let's see what this is all about. I think they match up well against the Chiefs. I think they match up very well against the Bills, just because I don't think the Bills defense is legit. And I feel like all the weapons that the Chargers have would be way too much for the Bills to kind of defend. The Ravens are the only team that I kind of feel like would give the Chargers a lot of trouble just because it's brother versus brother. Jim has never beaten his older brother. And that's where I think it would play off. But look, I'll tell you one thing about the Chargers, and I know a lot of people don't know this or have seen this. Their defensive line is legit. And I'm not talking about the edge rushing. The edge rushing, they need a lot of help with. I still feel like that's one of their bigger weaknesses. The offensive line still needs help. I get that. But when it comes to their defensive line, they have 3 guys in there that they rotate, and all 6 of those guys are very good, and they get pressure on the quarterback. And if they can figure out the edge rushing, then, and I mean, on the opposite side of Khalil Mack, obviously, when he comes back, but they're getting so much push up front. And the way they were able to, and I know they had small sequences against Bo Nix where they kind of messed up. They had small sequences against the Chiefs where they messed up. They even had some against the Raiders. But when the time comes up, they settle down. And that's what's very interesting about Jesse Minter. I don't mean to go off on a soliloquy, but I just mean like there's something that I'm noticing with Jesse Minter that when the fourth quarter hits, his team really settles down and they play very well. They play very, I think right now they've only allowed 7 or 8. I think they've allowed like 8 to like 12 points in the fourth quarter, if that, because of the like they've only allowed field goals, I think, in the fourth quarter, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they've allowed. They might have allowed it. No, that touchdown was before. Yeah, no, they've only allowed field goals, I believe. No, one touchdown to Kelsey. I apologize, but other than that, it's been all offense. Like their defense has really settled down, and I'm very impressed with it. Now, there's a long way to go. They still are going. They're going to get Denzel Perryman back, Khalil Mack. Still feel like they need to make moves for the offensive line. But again, I've been very impressed with the kind of players that they have, and I feel like they'd match up well with everybody except for Baltimore just because of the brother aspect of it. Jim would need to pull some stuff out of his yin-yang to really win that game. Like he's going to have to go extreme to win that game. But yeah, that's just kind of my MO. I do think it is. I do think it is Bills and Chargers at the top right now. What were you going to say?
Yeah, but even to your point of the Bills matchup, like think about it. When the Bills struggle with the Chiefs, because why? They have a star quarterback, they have a physical defense, and they have good coaching. What do the Chargers have? Star quarterback, star defense, and a good coaching.
Yeah.
How can the Bills overcome that? So to me, it's kind of like imagine you finally avoid the Chiefs in the playoffs. You get the Chargers, like crap, it's a similar kind of build team, and you still can't do it. That would just probably mentally drain this team.
And they're superstars. I bet you if you go on the street and you ask people, name me a player on that defensive line that defensive team that's not Derwin James and Khalil Mack, folks aren't going to know. Dayon's starting to get his name out there. I'll tell you one player that everybody needs to take notice of is Tarheeb Still, 29. That kid can bang. He'll hit. He's a very good defender. He's very impressive. But and the thing is too, there's moments where Jesse rotates the secondary. The only one he doesn't take out is Tarheeb, but he'll put Benjamin St. Just, who's we all know he's had his issues with Washington, but here he played very well. He had a pass deflection on a key third down for the Chargers defenders. It's just the rotation that he has. Guys have stepped up. I am impressed. I am still a little hesitant because there's still 3 months left, but I really feel like as of right now, they're on a positive foot moving forward. No, yeah, Tier Tart. Well, people are gonna know him because he smacked Kelsey in the face. But yeah, as of right now, that's
and my last point here. I think the only thing that kind of worries me about the Chargers, playoff hopes in terms of what they can do in the playoffs, is that they're not going to get to face some of these teams, like because they don't have a first place schedule, right? You're not going to get to see the Ravens. You're not going to get to see the Bills. But you're going to get to see the Chiefs. And so you got to take care of those teams, especially like that's going to be one game that I'm really looking forward to see where they stack up. I think you mentioned this yesterday where it was like, I don't see them, getting a real test until they see the Eagles. And I'm kind of with you looking at that schedule, Gilbert.
Maybe Commanders if they're healthy, but then no Scary Terry, no Jaden Daniels. Like it's kind of a bummer. Like it's the way it's shaping up for that matchup. Though I wish they would have been at full strength for Week 5.
But I'll say one thing. It's also like for the Bills and the Ravens and them, they're not gonna see them, so they don't know what to expect. That's why last year I had said if the Ravens would face the Chargers again in the playoffs, I thought the Ravens would have blown them out.
And one last point in terms of how physical, like you don't know. Like you said, there's levels to this in terms of like if you're not used to that physical, the physical game that the Chargers play, that might be something where that helps them, because if you don't have to see it till you get to the playoffs, that is something where you have an advantage.
Yeah. Binky, you're asking if the Steelers game will get flexed out. I'd be very surprised. I think they want to see the Chargers as much as they can on prime time because of Jim Harbaugh. It'll be
Especially
Jim Harbaugh,
if
Mike
they're
Tomlin.
like they have a great record at that point. You're not flexing an LA team.
Yeah, exactly.